Hey guys, good evening. Welcome to the Windsor Re-Up. This is all things REI Windsor Re-Up. You got myself, Tom McCormick, and we got the amazing Jeremy
Jeremy
McGraw.
McGraw.
Check out that hat, Jeremy. Tell me about that. What are you wearing right
It's
there?
the
That's some.
new swag of the real estate game, McGraw Real Estate, which is not to be confused with my SJ Real Estate, which is my actual me and Shastina Barlow
Mhm.
from Remax Capital Diamond. This is my holding company,
Right on.
which I've been kind of pushing some posts on Instagram regarding
I've
some
seen the
jewel art.
branding.
So you're
Yeah.
going to start seeing a lot more of the stuff popping up on some of my holds and possibly some of my flips that I do.
Hmm.
It kind of gives it a little bit of a name, but yeah, McGraw Real Estate, McGraw Development Corporation, and then all McGraw Real Estate uh, investment
I
corporations. But yeah,
I
this
like that, and the
under the
maple leaf
umbrella of
too.
McGraw Real Estate.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet, man. That's pretty sweet. It's nice to have like a rebrand, a fresh rebrand like that. So you'll have to rock that a lot more.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it's golf season. It's the golf style hat. I see some of
Oh
the guys
yeah,
at PGA Tour wearing it, so I figured, why not? I went on to was it AliExpress there and bought a bunch of stuff for it
that's
was
the
like
way to
ten
do it.
dollars a hat.
Yeah, that's the way to do
Shipped
it.
to my
Nice and
house in
cheap,
like
and
a couple
then
weeks.
you can make a little side business out of that. We can start selling your own merch. But speaking of golf, though, didn't you do like a Remax golf tournament or something like that recently?
Yeah,
Tell me what's been going on
yeah.
in your life the past month, because it feels like there's
Oh
been a lot
man.
that's gone on in your and our lives, but also in like the government politics and tariffs. There's a lot to talk about.
Where to start? Well, we'll
Yeah,
start with the golf. So last Friday we did the Future is Bright initiative. It was sponsored by
Patrick McDavid.
my boss
I just
there,
kidding.
Albert Contarjan at Remax Capital Diamond.
Okay.
But it was one of our builders at the office. He's not a realtor, but he's a builder that we use.
Hmm.
Sunbuilt Homes. He hosts basically a charity initiative, right? And I guess some of it was going to the Humane Society, and another portion was going to Fight Like Mason, like just really good causes overall. Um, and we got to play 18 holes with the cart, basically a team of four, but
Like a scramble
in
kind of thing.
groups of four, I guess you would say, using best ball.
Okay.
So in that case, there we played Friday, shot under four, which was really good at the Rochester Place golf course. My first time playing out there in many years because it's a little bit further out. You're like
Whereabouts is that?
basically
Is that
like
more Tecumseh, Bell River?
no, it's past that, even like in between like Bell River and St. Joachim kind of
Oh,
area,
okay, like
right
a
around the
little
corner
ways.
from like Comber.
Okay,
So yeah, not
gotcha.
bad. A great golf course. Some beautiful houses that way. And
Of
I mean,
course, of
compared to
course.
like Windsor, like the house prices there are way cheaper, which is a good
Hmm.
opportunity for buyers looking to either get like, because a lot of the new homes in those areas are going to be like raised ranches and you can split
Hmm.
them into two units.
Okay,
If
okay.
you want a
Yeah,
new
yeah.
home,
You could kind of house
uh,
hack that one.
selfish plug there. If anyone wants to buy some raised ranches that
Hey,
way, let me
Jeremy's the
know.
guy for all things real estate and
But
real estate, being a realtor, I
yeah,
should say, and investment properties.
what else has gone on? I mean, we have a new, well, we have the same prime minister. What a big lead blown.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Huh.
really unfortunate. Like, I don't know about you, but I did not expect that. Even though the polls were showing Carney, I was really thinking that the polls were a little bit skewed, if you will, but also you even saw with like elections down south, you if you're paying for the polls, you can always get the right result that you want. If you know what I'm
You know
saying,
what?
you can
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
choose a certain subset of people that will vote a certain sort of way. Um, but yeah, you're right. What a
Well,
lead blown. I think Pierre
some
just
people have
played
been
it a little
calling
too
me
safe.
a conservative, but I would view myself more as an opportunist.
Hmm.
I think most real estate investors should be, and I think people in general should kind of go based off of what they're doing for you and your family. How are you going to put the most amount of money in your pocket?
Yeah,
And that's why a lot of the time the liberals get in because there's a lot of
handouts.
money thrown around, right?
Hmm.
Not maybe towards us, but maybe towards people that are it's better best for them if they don't want to work, right?
Fresh in the country, things like
Handouts.
that too.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
good if you're a government contractor or a government worker, safe jobs.
yeah.
Obviously, the conservatives were basically smaller government. There's a lot of potential pros for us, but at the end of the day, after seeing what happened, and how we lost, how the not we, how the conservatives
Hmm.
lost, because I did vote conservative.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the best person won. at the end of the day. And um, hearing what happened with Joe Rogan was like, hey, we reached out to Jordan Peterson
Yep.
and he didn't want to come on the podcast. The Nelk boys reached out.
A lot of
And that's
bigger
how Trump
names.
won.
Yeah.
Trump won based off off of going on podcasts. It's free advertisement, and the fact that he didn't do that, the fact that he thought he was better than that. I mean,
Mm.
even
His
Doug Ford. I mean, we call Doug Ford a liberal, but Doug Ford mentioned that he offered his like manager, right?
Really.
Campaign manager. And they're everyone's starting to blame the campaign manager too. But at the end of the day, if you're Pierre and you should be knowing if what you should be doing.
He
Like
needs
we
better
have all of us
advisors.
kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So I mean I look at it. I'm looking at Carney now. I'm glad it's not Trudeau. So we can thank
yeah.
Pierre for getting rid of Trudeau. That was a
hmm
huge plus. Um at the end of the day, it seems like Trump likes Carney and that's good for business for
In a
us.
way, yeah. I think it's because they are both in a sense businessmen. They speak the same language, but I honestly think he likes Carney because Carney he thinks might be a bit more of a pushover. Because
I mean, he looked like the Robin to Trump's Batman,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that
that conference that they had, Carney was really just leaning in and not really having even a neutral posture. He was really kind of in Trump's sphere or aura, whatever you want to call it, and it didn't come across as very strong, staying elbows up, keeping ourselves not the 51st state.
oh, the
So
elbows up is definitely gone now. That was just for boomers. They're
I
thinking
know,
that they were never conservative to begin with. I mean, it goes back to my grandma's time too. Even my parents were liberals way back in the day. Everyone was kind of like a Trudeau liberal.
yeah,
I
and
got
that's back.
not like yeah, not the Justin Trudeau liberal, but his
No,
father
no,
there.
no,
But still,
that was too
I mean, we
woke.
haven't had a good. I personally don't think we've actually had a good liberal government probably since Jean Chrétien.
Yeah,
I don't
and
think
I
Paul
would
Palmer was very good.
a
I
caveat to.
thought
Oh, I'd just say
good.
caveat too. The liberals way back in the day are probably almost the conservatives of today because the Ovaltine
Correct.
window has just shifted immensely all the way to the left, and it's almost like the conservatives keep chasing the tail of the left, who keep pushing the envelope further and further over.
I mean, we're not even the same as the Paul as our Stephen Harper government, right? So I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
we are a little bit less conservative now. We're basically compared to the states, we're not really conservative. I
no,
mean, the
none of our
Democrats
parties
in
are really.
general.
Yeah,
However, a lot's changed with their politics too right
yeah,
now, and a lot of wokeism, and I think that's kind of a big issue going on right now. But that's another political chat. We're just
yeah.
talking real estate here. What does what does Carney have for us? He wants to build homes. He supposedly, I mean, his company or the company he used to work for,
Brookfield
is it
Asset
Blackstone
Management.
or
Yeah,
Brookfield there.
Brookfield.
Uh,
BlackRock is the states version, the
yeah,
United States.
there's Blackstone, but then there's Blackrock, there's Blackstone, and then I think those two are owned by the same company. So it's yeah, Brookfield. And they own a bunch of I guess one of the largest modular homes companies.
hmm That's
So
perfect for almost like
they're
ADUs and stuff like that too, just like the tiny
and
homes.
he's really pushing the ADUs. So what would I personally like to see? I would like to see more infill. We want to see more units on one
Yeah,
lot.
more density.
Um, for Windsor, people hate that. Obviously,
hmm
we have a very big NIMBYism in Windsor. That's why if you compare to Detroit, everyone goes, "Oh, well, Detroit looks so much better than Windsor." It's like, well, no one, the city goes every time a developer tries to push a product,
hmm
the neighbors complain, or the city goes, "My book says that you can only go 6 stories high." It's like,
Right, they're
okay,
very
if you're on Riverside
sticklers.
Drive, all of Riverside Drive should be pretty much condominiums. You have a great park.
hmm
We need infill.
hmm
We already have the suburbs. We have tons of suburbs. We have the county being a suburb,
We're
and it's
starting to
so easy to move
sprawl.
around. I can be from downtown to like Essex. I can be there in 20 minutes,
Yeah,
maybe
good old Easy
25
Row.
minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like look at moving around in Detroit, how quickly you can move around Detroit and being in the suburbs in Detroit. Like within 10, 15 minutes, not even.
yeah, they have a lot better highway system because we only really have like I don't even I'll say one main artery is EC Row, and then the other one I
401.
wouldn't even really consider like Tecumseh a main artery. You know, we don't really have that many ways to get out.
No, but we could.
We I know
We
we
could.
definitely could, but that's what Detroit has as a benefit. They have all like the I-75s, 94, 696. They have all these roads to actually get people to where they need to go. But Windsor just needs more infrastructure, and I know they're trying to push for that. And what is it the kind of near the airport, they're projecting and they're saying there's going to be about 3 or 4 thousand new homes in that new Tecumseh area. But first, they got to put in the infrastructure first. So that's all like the sewers, the roads.
Yeah, I think
It's going to
Tecumseh is
take a
pretty
while.
backed up right now.
Hmm.
It looks like Amherstburg's trying to build back up, and it's very, very interesting because the Amherstburg is a great little town, but you're so far away because you have no major artery to get into the
You got
city or
front
move around.
road
So
at 70 kilometers an hour and then 50 kilometers on most of it.
if you're lucky,
Yeah,
and OPP runs that.
they nab you good. I never got caught there, but I've seen them all the time. Been
I think
close.
Windsor Police is managing it. I don't even know who
I don't know.
manages Amherstburg,
Not
but
that it really
yeah.
matters, but you're right. It's sprawling out, and I think you're right that we need to increase density. But what do we need to do?
Well, think
Well,
about this. Let's.
we increase the building taxes, so that kind of stifles things too.
Hmm?
And Windsor's only 3 by right on one lot, whereas Tecumseh's 4 by right. So Windsor needs to, I think,
Did they
catch
go ahead
up.
with that? I don't think
I
they did.
I
I think they
think it's
backed
still in
up.
limbo, but
Okay.
maybe unless I could have heard incorrectly. Maybe they did
I
kill it.
believe it's still
They
three
might have
right
killed
now.
it. Okay.
And
We'll
there's
follow up
different
next
ways to
month
get
on that one.
around that. Um, like, well, maybe when we talk about Drewler, we'll talk about what I want to do with that
Yeah,
vacant
yeah,
piece of land.
absolutely. I'm curious.
Uh, but yeah, so overall, I think there's I'm curious to see what Carney has in plan. I mean,
Hmm.
I'll give the guy a shot. I think we have to. He's our new
Yep, no real
leader,
choice
and
now.
I wish him the best. Um, it seems like a lot of the issues and knowledge. Like if it goes too bad again, then obviously we'll probably have an election within
Mhm.
what 18 months or so. So
Potentially
we'll
if
see
the
how it
bloc doesn't
goes.
support him. I do have one more question related to the
Go ahead.
politics before we hop off to some other topics.
Hmm.
With Carney, his new proposed budget, he's saying that he wants to print a lot more money and call it investments. Do you see that helping the real estate market because of inflation? Do you
Well, it is
see
inflation.
always there is always inflation, but do you have any concerns, or do you saying it's now's the time to buy as ever, or what's your general sentiment right
Great
now?
question. Hmm. Well, if they start printing money again, are we gonna? It depends on what we're doing. Are we gonna start like? Are we gonna continue to lower rates? Because the states just had their federal announcement, which they did not
They
lower rates
held,
again.
yeah.
Trump's been pushing, and Powell's been refusing to do it. I think he's done a very good job. Um, it seems like, and I mean, I called this out not long ago. We should be done, basically with the rates.
Hmm.
I think this is kind of where we end it, and I called this out like a while back, maybe
Like
half a
not
year
like
ago.
end it as in don't drop it anymore, or are you saying bring it a little bit lower
Yeah, I
to
don't see
two
it
percent?
dropping that much anymore,
Okay, so
to
we're
be
kind of at
honest
the
with you.
bottom then.
I I'm not a I'm
Well, I know
yeah,
you
I
don't
mean
have the
it all
crystal ball or
depends,
anything,
right?
but I'm just
Um, well, here's the thing: if the tariffs get bad, we're gonna have to print money. We're gonna have to,
we'll be forced
bail
to.
out companies. We're gonna have to stimulate the economy, which would probably be lowering mortgage rates more. But I think overall, in like what we're sitting at today with the current information we're given, people want 2% mortgage rates again, want 1% mortgage rates again. So that's not going to happen
Hmm.
unless a catastrophic event like COVID happens again. We were also in an interesting time too, where going back to the politics, Stephen Harper was had our government pretty well, and then Trudeau
We were actually in the
wanted to
black.
continue. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were going to both push it within 5 years, right? But um, Trudeau lowered the mortgage rates a little bit more. I think when I started real estate in 2016, we were around kind of like a mid 3 mortgage rate, maybe on
Hmm.
the lower end of that. And then we dropped a bit more. And then obviously COVID happened, and we went from basically, let's call it around a high 2, early 3,
Hmm.
and we went basically down to like what, mid ones, which is insane to think about.
Yeah,
Because
I
even
remember
the
having a
states were never that.
1.94. That was
Yeah.
juicy.
I had 1.49
Oh,
on my
really?
flip with CIBC.
Holy
I
heck.
started just doing flips with the mortgages because I'm like, man, I can get a variable mortgage at 1 point for like 1.5%. Even if I have to pay a fee to break it, who cares?
Right, right, because it's just so cheap. Yeah, you can hold
Yeah.
the property forever.
So that's what kind of put us into a situation with the leverage, right? And that's another thing that I would love to talk about with over leveraging because I'm reading a lot of reports. Actually, I just read something in a Facebook group where um, the Robbie Clark, I believe his name is, he was holding a 400 plus properties in the $140 million worth of properties up north. I
Really,
believe the new
140 million
president of, so yeah, so I guess there was 170 plus investors that were involved that got
got burned.
swindled into this. Yeah. They teamed up together and opened up a corporation called, I guess it's Big North Properties, something along those lines.
Hmm.
And the guy, I guess the president or something was based out of Kingsville.
Really?
This from the
Oh
article
no.
I read. Yeah, it's from like earlier this year or late last year article, but someone posted it in one of the groups that was in. So it was a very interesting read.
Mm.
Local guy from Kingsville.
Putting
What do we have going on
Windsor
for the
Essex on the
news right
map.
now? What else do we have?
Yeah. So let's get this going here. So we have, as usual, we like to talk a lot about the news if we can in Windsor specifically, but Canada also as a whole sometimes. So
Mhm.
here's something that's I'm sharing my screen now with the
So
Windsor
what is this,
utilities with
Tom?
Enwin. So
Walk us through
basically,
this.
uh, Enwin had an oopsie. They actually charged their customers an arm and a leg in certain situations on accident. So they had some new way to process the billing and a new software that they were using, and they charged customers thousands of extra dollars. And only now are they finding out that they made a mistake and they're giving rebates. So if you were seeing a spike in your usage, maybe this is why.
I
Um,
did.
yeah, I did. Oh, you did? Was it for
I
any?
did, yeah.
Oh my
Hey, do you
goodness.
want to quickly maybe move the article down a bit? Just
Sure.
so, I
Let's
mean, we have
see. Some of these
sorry.
Windsor articles don't
What's this
actually.
guy saying right now?
We do have it
Joe
actually.
McHale, local investor, and he owns quite a few buildings there, the 2600 block of Howard. He's upset with the city of Windsor stormwater fee plan. Ooh,
Yeah,
can you go
that.
back up there for a second? I wouldn't mind knowing what he means by the stormwater fee plan, but we'll scroll down.
Yeah, so that's. I think that's another part of this too with the city.
Oh, right
They
here.
were they
Yep,
were charging
perfect.
for the stormwater, based on your area of the property, how much green space you have versus like cement or a structure. Based on
What
that,
is
you have
this
to pay
that
for stormwater, which is um, it's supposed to help the little guy actually, and the bigger people pay more to support the infrastructure. But
it's a tax?
it's yeah, it's just a tax. It's just a way to take your wealth.
So
But
that's hopefully, and you said we're gonna get a rebate if you were affected by this, like if you were a victim of
mhm,
so and so, you may be entitled to a
yeah.
rebate.
So this was as of the billing system that changed over on January 1st. So they're apologizing for any confusion, but I guess back in October, the city changed how they calculate all this stuff, and based on that water usage, they screwed up. So they're fixing it now, and hopefully you'll see some
So
rebates
this
back.
doesn't affect my power usage because I got like a
No, sorry. I
$350
guess
bill for this
I
condo.
misspoke. I meant to say water, but I'm thinking when I think Enwin, actually Enwin was fixing my utilities in the backyard, replacing phone poles. So I think that's why I'm thinking electric because
I
they've
was on
been
the phone
upgrading
with them
stuff.
all day today
Oh, really? What
for
happened?
Drooler at all. Yeah,
Just to
just
try and set it up?
ESAs because all the power's been shut off. So something to note for people that haven't been through this yet. If you
Hmm.
buy a property and the power's been shut off for longer than 6 months, you require an ESA audit, and it's about $180 or
Oh,
so. I think I
really?
paid $184, give or take a bit,
Another money grab.
to book an ESA person to come by to turn it back on or repower something along those lines, and then they get a look around your property and or
And
your electrical
and you
and
got
see
to
if there's anything wrong
fix
with
more
it.
defects. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, damn. It sucks. Yeah, I see some knob and tube here.
oh
Looks
no,
like you're gonna have to
got the whole
redo
thing, replace
everything.
it all. So, just on that note, did you have to? Were you fighting something that they saw, or just? Uh,
No, so I once again, for the Drulard property, so I think the last conversation we had was me talking about possibly rebuying Drulard again, and sure
mhm.
enough, I rebought
Yeah,
it.
the one right next door, right?
Um, yeah, headaches and a half. I gotta sue a brokerage now and small claims court to get my original deposit back because the previous owner did not want to sign a mutual release. And this is what I've heard from a few different people as
Wow,
well. So it is what it is, like $500 to represent
but
myself.
still,
It is, yeah,
it's a
it's
matter
five,
of
it's
principle.
10%.
Yeah.
It's 10%. In this case here, property's been off. Some of the utilities been off since 2022, others since 2020, and then one was just since September of this year, which
Oh,
we
just
know
on the
as
cusp. Yeah. Le-
Lansky's Coney Island or whatever. I can't pronounce the guy's name. I apologize. But
All
the
right.
Coney Island place, and then that was shut off, I think, in September of the utilities there.
Mm.
So that one should be turned back on without any issue. So the commercial units will be able to get going right off the bat. That will be a easy cleanup for me to get that going again. However, the upper, and to give you an idea how fucked this was, my language there, but
Must have been bad
Enwin
if you're
has,
swearing
they're
like
like, oh,
that.
do you know what units are which? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, you said you have 3 units. I'm like, they're like, yeah, well, the one unit is listed as, actually, hold on a second here. Let me see if I can get my notes. I'll tell you how screwed up their systems are because once again, some of these properties are so old, they probably made notes back in like the 50s or even prior.
And yeah, no one ever
And
bothered to update it after the fact.
yeah, so here's my notes for this right here. Because they're like, by the way, do you know which these are? I'm like, why would I know what these are? You should know them. My lower right rear unit will be able to be turned back on, and my and one water line will be eligible to be turned back on with no issues.
Hmm.
The upper unit requires an ESA, which I assume that's the upper. There's only one unit upstairs, and then another unit, which is a unnamed electricity and water meter, also requires a ESA permit because it's been off since September of last year. So I don't know what that means. Like, I'm sorry, like
Oh no.
unnamed line of a water line and electrical line. But don't worry, your lower right rear unit
You'll have
will
to do
be
some
up and
detective
running.
work. Maybe you can get lucky and somewhere in the electrical box they have it
Well,
like listed.
I assume that's my residential unit, which does have power and everything probably going to it, but um I mean it does have power, it does have a good working electrical, but the unit's gutted to the studs. So I'm like, wouldn't that be the unit that's not supposed to be up and running? I don't know. Like,
Hmm.
why is my commercial unit? I don't even know which is which.
Sounds like you got a lot of work cut out for you for that triplex.
Yeah, I got a
I
permit
think
number though,
uh,
so
you got to. Oh, you got the permits already set.
yeah, they were gonna book me in for like Thursday, but then I'm like, hey, I don't actually own the property until the 28th, and they're
Hmm.
like, oh, wait a second, we'll do it the 29th. So hopefully all goes well with that. But
I think that's
I'm
gonna have to be
I'm
one
bracing
of
for.
the. I was gonna say I think you're gonna have to do that as one of our All Things REI property tours. That might be a good one, eh?
Oh yeah,
Sounds
and then we can
sounds
talk
pretty
about the
juicy.
vacant piece of land.
There
Well,
you
where was I
go.
going with this?
Sorry, I
With
kind of got you sidetracked with
lots.
plugging our meetups.
The property comes with a 30 by 100 foot lot with a CD 2.2 zoning.
Which means
And in a
commercial and
perfect world, yeah,
residential.
yeah, in a perfect world, I should, if I can do this properly, let's say I do it as an addition, there's a good chance that I can kind of using my 90 feet of frontage, well, I guess 60 feet of frontage with this one, and then the 30 feet separate to begin with. Unless I decide to merge them all,
Hmm.
I could probably build another 6 units on a 30-foot lot, which is kind of cool to think about.
Or you're saying if you merged it.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
mean, the cool thing about being in up and coming areas is that you might be able to get some leeway with parking.
Hmm.
You might not necessarily have to require as much parking as
They'll give you a
needed.
variance.
Yeah, and then obviously still have to abide by some of the rules. Like I might have to have a little bit of a pushback with the residential units, which if I renovate the property, I might be able to go. I can go lot line to lot line,
Hmm.
but they do want some type of, I guess, setback for residential.
Sure. Almost
However,
like a green space. Because I know you need sometimes in certain residential, you need like literally just a little patch of grass.
if you want to do it on a commercial area kind of thing, you would have to have more room. But because I'm going to go lot line to lot line, so right front, pretty much right where the sidewalk is,
Hmm.
I would have to do commercial on the main floor, which I would want commercial on the
Gotcha.
main floor anyways. I think it's
Yeah.
beneficial to the neighborhood.
Makes
And
sense.
then I can do like potentially 5 residential units, which would be sweet, three
Mm.
stories high.
Okay, three. That'd be great for density. Since it's technically 6 units, could you get CMHC financing for that?
100%, potentially more because I would have if I do it as a renovation, I
Hmm.
would already have 3 units attached. So I'd have a total of 9 units on 60
Oh, I
foot
guess
feet
yeah.
of
Because
lot.
if you're going lot to lot, you might as well merge it to the existing.
Correct.
Your call it the
And if I
existing
do as a
structure.
residential with a 60 by 100 foot lot, there's a chance I could potentially even push for 12 units. But that might be a bit hard to do without playing around with the existing triplex. So I would
Mm-hmm.
probably just try to push for 9. However, with 60 feet of frontage, I would have 6 parking spots potentially for um, 9 units, which is way more than what would technically be required for an up and coming area.
Right. So what are they
I
chart like
think. I think
saying you need like half a parking spot per unit, something like that? Or
depends. I mean, there's road parking as well. That's
true, yeah,
you don't
free
need
public
permits
parking.
for.
You could put a
But
couple in the
they
back
just
maybe.
really want to infill the area, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I guess too, like with
It's not like
ADUs,
a
they
South
say as
Windsor neighborhood where they would really enforce. And I can understand like a more expensive neighborhood, like an actual suburb area,
yeah,
you'd want to more pretty much
you don't want
enforce
just cars
the
all on the road. Yeah, you need some
yeah.
driveways. I know with a lot of ADUs now, they say as long as you're on like a bus route, you don't need parking. You're fine.
Could be done.
Yeah,
Could be done.
that's perfect. No, man, that's gonna be sweet with your Drewlar property, but we'll definitely have to do a meetup property tour there during the summertime and show it off and show the whole up and coming Ford City because I think it's underrated and a lot of people don't realize uh, that's a hidden gem.
Yeah. I mean, there's one on the market right now. I'm gonna plug a listing here.
Sure.
And in order for me to plug a listing, I have to give credit to the listing agent and their brokerage.
What's
So give me
the
one
property
moment
address?
here.
Because I can even Google search it, put it like present it.
1063, sorry, 1036 dash 1038 Droulard. Um,
Okay.
Perfect.
Let's see.
This is
Presenting.
a cool project. So it's I
Look at
viewed
that.
it actually with one of my clients on the weekend. Um, or just a couple of days ago, my apologies there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was originally part of a guy that owned quite a few units. It's under power of sale right now. Um, they guess they held offers. They had multiple offers. It didn't sell yet. It needs a ton of work, but the property itself is massive. So
Yeah, it
basically,
looks
to give you an
big.
idea here, I'm
Wow.
going to shout out the it's Keller Williams Lifestyles Realty. That's the brokerage. I'm unaffiliated with this listing here,
Mm-hmm.
but as someone that has, pretty much skin in the game on this neighborhood, I would love to see investors buy it and fix it up with us.
Oh yeah, because that just
So,
appreciates all your values of your houses.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Matt Bushman and obviously Peter James Lucente, great agents. I've dealt with them before, and they have this property listed. To give you an idea, it's approximately um, it's 3,500 square feet over 3 stories, including a full legal size basement, to my
Over three
knowledge. Once
stories.
again, to my knowledge,
It looks like you got your
it does
back
have a great
entrance right
entrance
there.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were thinking like almost when I went to view it, we have enough height down there to make one unit in the basement. It's huge basement. Um, you have on the main floor, it's just a commercial unit, which is about 700-ish, give or take square feet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good size
Mm-hmm.
commercial unit. And then to your right of the picture there, you'll see a little brown door.
Oh, this
That's
that
it.
probably
Yeah,
goes to the
yeah.
upstairs
It
for
goes
those
to the
units.
upstairs. Yes, it does. But the upstairs is kind of like it's kind of like a raised ranch style. You go up a small flight of stairs to a pathway. Then you have a unit that is kind of like a one and a half, like almost like not on the it's not a main floor unit, it's like an above unit. So but it's not a second floor unit. Then
It's
you have a unit above that.
okay.
So you have basically one commercial unit on the main floor. It's the only main floor unit. Then you on the side door here, you kind of go up. You have kind of a small hallway with a staircase that goes to the actual second floor. And then you kind of have one unit that's kind of like a raised ranch style unit. The
Mm-hmm.
second floor allows for probably, I would say, uh 2 bedroom units. And then there's like a third story or something like that. Like it's like
Yeah, it looks kind of like that. There's your third story. There's your kind of in between, maybe second
no,
story.
so my apologies. Yeah. So basically we'll call it how it is. Commercials on the first floor. Then that mid level is going to be, we'll call it second floor. And then there's a third floor with
S-
2 units. So a total of uh potentially two upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
plus a third residential unit, plus commercial, and then the basement bringing you to 5 units.
So this
Uh,
being
with the third with the third floor, there's potentially, if you can MacGyver to possibly even do a 6 unit.
Wow.
It's crazy to think
And
about.
so with it being Drouillard, let's call these all, I don't know, two bedroom
Yeah,
units.
they're all, yeah.
Um, what's the rent you're thinking you'd get for that? You're getting maybe 15 to 1900, or I don't know. What's your range that you're thinking you could get for something like this on Drouillard?
Great question. And
Depends on the
I spoke
finishes too,
to,
of course, but
of course, 100%, 100%. So to kind of give you an idea, um, a nicely done, and I don't do builder's grade, so I don't do the gray flooring. I do all like white oak, but vinyl flooring, but
yep.
the white oak style. You can get away with Home Depot. Honestly, I use pretty much Home Depot at this
Yeah,
point. Glacier Bay
same.
cabinets. You can do IKEA if you can get the parts
Yeah.
and stuff. 'Cause those corner units are always so tough to
If you
get
want
the.
the flooring though, you know where to go.
Ooh, we'll plug that in a minute. We'll plug
Yeah,
that in
yeah.
a minute.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Um, but yeah, so to kind of give you an idea, um, 2 bedroom unit, 1 bath, in suite laundry, low end with like I do builder grade everything, but you make it look nice. You can be
Oh
smart
yeah,
about how you buy stuff.
you've made it look clean.
But I just view some properties, some flips sometimes, and I'm like, man, this is like a terrible job.
Hmm.
Like they make it look builder grade. You could spend maybe an extra $2,000 or $3,000 on materials and make it look 10 times better. It's all about what you buy.
Mm.
You don't have to go crazy, but you should at least upgrade better handles, better doors. Like I'm tired of seeing that everyone's trying to opt for those cheap, like $85 doors. Spend the extra 15, $20, buy the one panels. They're way nicer looking.
Hmm. Cleaner,
So,
more modern.
um, I would say on the low end, 1650 plus
Okay. Okay.
minimum. That's what I mean, minimum to 1800 plus, depending on if you have parking spots.
Okay. Yeah, my spread was a
Because you
bit
gotta
big,
remember,
saying
here's the
15 to
thing.
19.
The issue you're gonna run into is because it's a 5 unit, your rents might drop a little bit because there's so many units involved.
Hmm.
But you have to talk about the area in general. It's a very hipster location right now, very up and coming, but you're just around the corner from the best spot of Walkerville, which is Wyandotte, and you're just off like pretty much this building. The next street over is Richmond, which you're maybe a 15-minute walk to the um, Wilstead Park, right? So you
Hmm.
could be at Erie Street by
Erie
car
Street,
in
Ottawa Street, all
five
that stuff.
minutes. Why not in 5 minutes? So you have the best parts of Walkerville within like literally a kitchen not walking distance, if not a short car ride.
Awesome.
So if I was in it, try getting a nice duplex right now for less than like 1,800 to $2,000 plus utilities in Walkerville. And you're gonna be on a crappy street, no offense, but like Hall, um, kind of those type of area, Moy,
Hmm.
they're not right where you'd want to be at. And sure, they are better than Drouillard, but I mean, if you want to even get yourself into a thing like Gladstone, Argyle, Monmouth, if you can even get a multi in that area, you're paying way more. You're probably
Oh yeah,
paying close to
you're
twenty one hundred
paying a bit more
dollars.
of a
I know
premium.
people paying 2,200 on Moy, but they're on the 200 block by
Hmm.
the waterfront. But still, $2,200 a month for a duplex
Yeah,
plus utilities.
my brother's getting for a 1 bedroom ADU in the backyard detached. Mind you, it's a detached, so it kind of adds maybe some value.
Yeah,
He's getting, I think, like 1950 for it, so it's
but
not
still,
bad.
how many square feet?
It's it's pretty small, to be honest, but it's because it's on
So one
Gladstone.
bedroom for
Yeah,
1,900 bucks.
yeah, yeah. So he's doing pretty
So,
well. So yeah, you're
and
right. But
people
it's all
go,
about the location because some people just they love the Walkerville, or maybe they like the hipster, like you said, the hipster. They want to be in that Drouillard, so they'll pay the extra little bit to make it
well,
work.
here's the other option. I mean, you can get a newer, I build on Wyandotte, maybe towards like Wyandotte and like Parent. I was gonna say Langways, but I don't want to throw Langways out as Langways is not a bad street at all.
No, I know
Just Wyandotte and Parent because of
it's more of a
the
main
homeless
artery.
issue is pretty bad.
Yeah,
And our office has a great builder and they have a great project there. And it's a great building. And even I think Graham had his project that
burned
unfortunately
down on the corner
burned
there.
down.
On
But that's the thing is it's a rougher area, right? And the sense of it is like a condo there, a 2 bedroom goes for I think a 1 bedroom goes for like 18, 1,900 bucks.
hmm
But it's all about location. If that building was by like Wyandotte in even like Lincoln, like maybe move that whole building 3 blocks over,
yeah, you'd
the
be
rents are
rolling in it.
exponentially more expensive, right? So it's all about
Absolutely.
location because people are, I have people coming to me and they're like, hey, well, why can I get a brand new condominium, like a two bed, two bath on Banwell for 2,200 bucks a month, but I can rent the same a duplex for the same price in Walkerville. I'm like, well, you want to live in Walkerville, right? You don't want to live in Banwell?
Yeah,
They're like, yes. I'm
out in
like,
the boonies,
there's
kind
your
of get to
answer.
have a big
It's kind of
commute.
like Farhi's development. Farhi has a stunning development off of Lozon and
Yep.
by the arena,
Yep.
but every person I ask, I'm like, hey, like who location sucks.
Yeah, there's nothing really around it. You got the little
If
plaza,
you're
like the
young
Crunch
and
Fitness.
professional,
You got some pickleball near there, but that's literally about it.
well, that's the thing. If you're
Yeah.
young and professional, like you're gonna cater to people that maybe have like a family, a dog, like maybe don't know kids yet, but you're not really going out.
Hmm.
Sure,
Yeah,
but
the
majority of the
homebodies.
people that are young professionals that want to live in a condominium, they're going out, and
Hmm.
that's not the location you want to
Yeah.
probably be in, and that's why location matters so much. So you have a developer like, for example, Mark Baba, who's one of my best friends, doing a development on
Yeah, the university, right? Or in that
no,
vicinity.
no, in Walkerville, yeah,
Oh,
on
really?
Ottawa Street, well, just off Ottawa, and
Oh,
Devonshire
sorry, at the
Court,
very
and
the cul-de-sac Devonshire.
yeah, and that's like a 24 units, and
Hmm.
this it's going to be like I think 8 townhomes, and then each townhome is going to have the 3 units, right? So 24 units total.
That'd be
But people are
fantastic.
looking at that and going, "Wow, great location, great product,"
Hmm.
because you're
Hmm.
just what a 10-minute walk to Wyandotte.
Yeah,
So
not even. I
locations,
love walking that loop just for inspiration. It's a beautiful
mhm.
area, beautiful and safer too.
So
Yeah.
100%. So I think this is a great project here. It's massive. To give you an idea, mine's around 20. I think mine's about 2,500 or 2,700 square feet.
And this one's what,
But
3,000
obviously mine's
something?
over 2 stories.
Hmm.
This is like it makes this thing's, and obviously I don't have a good basement height. So you're getting that fifth unit with the basement height with this project. So realistically, it's got one more unit than me, um, above grade,
Hmm.
and then below grade has one more unit in general than me.
Well,
But so two more units in total.
seems like a lot
That
of
I don't know if
potential.
that could be legal. I don't know. Like I'm not. I don't know what would be required to do anything. But if you could push 5 units with that building and you spend 50, 60 a unit plus the roof, plus the windows, plus doors, plus the back porch. Call it, you're in for almost 400,000 and even 400,000 for fun. What are they asking? I think 385.
Yep.
You're in for, I think, what's a good rate for fully done
Five
five
flats.
unit building going? Like well over $1 million.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in for, call you're in, say you're in for 800 plus holding fees, maybe 850.
Maybe you're like a
I think you could
1.2 to
refund.
1.4. I don't know.
That's pretty
Depends on the
good.
area. Depends on the area.
Is it a full burr?
At that point, if you're only putting
Are
400
we
in,
showing a full MLS burr that's been on the market for a week?
uh, that might this. I wonder how they'd appraise this. That's the only thing, because
You appraised it a commercial mortgage, same as mine
yeah,
off
I
of Drew
guess it
Lake.
really only depends on the rents you get. So if you can push the rents on that, maybe you could
Call it
appraise.
$1,700 a unit at 5 rents. Maybe the basement you'll lose a little bit of value down there, but you'll be by yourself kind of thing. Um, at 17, even at $1,700, you do a good product.
Yeah,
Um, damn. And then
yeah,
commercial building. I mean, the amount of commercial people that want to be in Ford City right
they're
now,
snapping it
it's
up because you got yours
yeah,
rented almost instantly without even any marketing,
didn't even hit
correct?
the market. None of my units hit the market. And I
Yeah,
never even advertised. I did not advertise it. People found out and messaged me. I had a bidding war for both units.
that's the
And
dream.
once again, it comes down to the best tenant. I had more money for the commercial unit. However, I have a really good tenant that I really like
Mm, mm-hmm.
and well known in Windsor. And it's good for the neighborhood too as well. And especially when you're buying the building next door, sometimes taking a bit of a hit, which does take a hit to my refinance. But in the grand scheme of things, will bring other businesses to you as well. You got to look at the big picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're, and obviously the one thing I will tell you too as well is when it comes to refinancing out, make sure you shop around, make sure you shop around for your
Have a good
appraiser,
mortgage guy.
get a good mortgage guy, definitely, because this is an up and coming area. And in my almost 10 years of real estate, I will tell you one thing I've learned. Um, True story. So it's about 2017 or 18. I can't remember which year it is. I sold a property on Drouillard by Drouillard in Seminole. So once again, different part of
Yeah, a little
Drouillard,
bit more
but
south, but I gotcha.
it was a triplex unit, very similar to what I just bought. Two residential units and a commercial unit that was turned into residential because of the location. Um, my client picked it up vacant on closing back then for like 160 or
Wow,
almost 170.
dude.
And that's they see what it's worth now. And it was two-bedroom units and then like a one-bedroom or something like that. But and then the basement was full basement, like huge basement.
Wow. Wow.
Um,
Okay. So potential for another unit then is what you're saying.
we had our my client, the bank brought an appraiser through. The appraiser came in at like 140. And we're like, what
Wow.
do you mean 140? It's a vacant triplex.
Yeah.
Like Walkerville goes for more money. And the guy goes, oh, it's Drouillard though. And I was like, oh,
The
okay,
stigma.
good to know. So you bring it, we canceled that because that was not fair. That was the minute he said Drouillard, I was like, okay, you're biased.
Yep.
You, I'm not paying for this. I'm sorry. So with
Hmm.
the commercial, it's a bit different. You got to pay up front. With residential mortgages, especially when you go through the bank, you can like dispute it and bring another person in.
Correct.
Um,
Yep.
so we disputed it. Next appraiser went in, and guess what he said? Wow, great product. Vacant triplex.
It's so wishy-washy. Yeah. It really depends on the person or what side of the bed they
Yeah.
woke up on,
So
or the
commercial
package you
a
present
little
to
bit
them.
different because it's all about numbers for the
Yeah.
most part. But I feel I did get a little bit gypped on mine because it was, oh, it's Drouillard. I'm like, what do you mean it's Drouillard?
Sometimes you just gotta fight and
So
actually provide them with like a package. Like, hey, this is what I did to the property. This is the pluses and all these variables, and then that way you can kind of sell your version or sell yourself.
yeah, I just ran my numbers again. I'm like, for me to pay another 2,900 bucks, it wasn't worth it.
Fair enough.
So this one right here, though, I mean, even let's say the worst case scenario, you come in at $1 million, you still have like almost a $200,000 difference on things. It's good. You're getting your money back. Um, I think it's a great product.
Mm,
So I think you're right on that around the ball. I think 1.2 to 1.4 million. I've seen people do, and you got to remember too, we're looking at this building and only talking about this building. It comes with a lot.
I'm looking at this. Yeah, this side they got two sheds, but
Yeah.
what can you do with that? That it looks like you can have parking back here in like uh the upper right hand side here, but could you
What can you
could
do
you
with
build
that?
more?
Well, it's a
Could you?
great question. So can you scroll to is there a picture of the side of the building? This is where you're going to have issues right there. Yeah, right, perfect. The issue you're going to have is you have windows on the side. Where mine, I don't
No
really have
windows.
windows on the side. I'm not really affected by this. However, with this product here, you are. So what's the land good for? Well, if you give yourself what I think it's 4 feet or 36 inches or something, like that, was it?
Yeah, I think it's about four you need usually for to
So you
like a
got
lot line.
third. So go back. So you got 30. Is a 30-foot lot?
Yeah, I think
30,
here you got 30 foot left.
30.
They
So
built right to the edges here.
minus 8. You can build on 22 feet of frontage. You can build
People have
something
done it.
decent for 22 feet.
You could do some like long kind of more longer units.
You can do 4 units,
Yeah,
I think, pretty well.
yeah, kind of two into the front, two in the back.
If you go lot line to lot line, which you can't do because you get the windows, you would have to close all the windows out, which hurt your and obviously you
I
can't
wonder
build
if
it. Go
some
back to the
units
first
might not
picture.
actually
Go back to the
have
first picture.
windows. If you do that, some units might not have windows in
Too bad you
from the
can't
view.
be like the building in between. Like just have like 1 foot of
Yeah,
you
there's my
can't.
daylight.
Yeah, just enough, right? Too bad you can't do that because if you could do that, then you're probably back to like 6 units, but
Yeah.
or potentially more. Um, but yeah, honestly, then worst case scenario, you're getting a free piece of land and then you rent out the space. Like there's sheds. That's the BIA right there. I don't know what I'm not involved with the BIA. I think the BIA is well run and I don't have to be a part of that. But they rent out these sheds and then they probably pay rent. I don't know. But could you get more parking for the area? Well, does the area need parking? Can you maybe rent out spots to the
Hmm.
BIA and
Hmm.
maybe make $100 a month or something like that just by providing
Hey,
more parking? Does it need more
even if it's
parking?
100, it's still something.
Right?
Yeah,
So you at least
interesting.
can get something. I mean, I plan on renting my piece of lot out for a bit. If I make $100 a month, $200 a month, that's great.
Yeah, as you should, as you should.
Right? I mean, if you got to think with the lots, pretty much once my property comes out, I'm probably getting a lot for like 50 grand, which is silly. So off of
Where else
50
can you get
grand,
them
I
off
just
to
need to
that
make
price?
what? My 1% rule is what, $50?
You'll be
So
rolling it. You'll get easily 2% roll. I'm being generous.
yeah, so I mean
Oh
that's
man.
the thing is you just gotta figure out what works, right? So
Yeah.
and if
Great
not, I
eye.
mean you have a
Great eye
piece
for this
of
property.
or you also gotta remember too, I am a licensed realtor that could throw a really cool sign up there saying, for sale, and then just advertise it for a stupid amount of money and hold it and go, wait a second here, I don't want to sell this piece of land, but I can put it up for sale and
Just
advertise,
to
and
get
now
some
it's free
bites.
advertising. Because guess how much a bus ad, those bus benches?
Oh, you're
That's a
saying
hundred
put an
bucks,
ad on the side of the building?
$100 no, not even on the piece of land.
Oh, just like
Throw a big
straight up
McGraw real
sign
estate,
on it.
SJ
Boom.
real estate sign,
Yeah, you could.
right? Advertise your businesses,
People do that a lot,
advertise
actually.
them.
Yeah. You just even like
So
the drive-throughs on the side of people's houses, they just stamp all their stuff, all their projects. No, cool listing, man. I think that was a great discussion too, because hopefully people can see how we kind of think about properties or the different ways we think we can make money or cash flow, and
I think it's a great
how we
product.
yeah, how we kind of
Like
like
I said,
assess a property as well.
probably factor in. I don't know exactly. I'm not a listing agent, can't tell you much about it. I would probably factor around 400K worth of work, plus holding fees probably. But I think it's a cool project.
Absolutely.
And
Let's. Oh, go
once
ahead.
again, do your due diligence.
Always, always. I've been burned when I haven't done
Not
as
financial
much as I
advice.
should. Yeah, not financial advice. Um,
What else is next?
we got a series of articles, but I know we're already pushing time. So we already touched on politics a little bit. Windsor Essex turned mainly fully blue. So
Right?
Brian Massey is out. Eric is
Lot.
trying to contest it, his seat. But overall, the Conservatives flipped as blue. So even though we have a Liberal government, Windsor Essex
You know,
wanted to go a
you know
different
what's annoying
direction.
about the about him though is a bunch of people that voted early at the time when the advanced polls were out.
Mhm.
Um, we had another guy that wasn't it was before Kathy Borelli. We had Mark McKenzie that
Oh
was
yeah,
in the riding, right? So some people voted for Mark McKenzie, and then he
he had to
ultimately
drop.
got ousted because of I suppose a joke, right? That was made on a
Yes, some
podcast
old some
many
old
years ago.
joke.
Yeah. So all those people that voted Mark McKenzie were not allowed to vote again.
Really?
So their votes were still counted as Mark McKenzie, and they did not count for Kathy Borelli. So if we have to re-vote again, which would be kind of fucking silly, or something, I don't know the rules regarding that is, but I mean, you lost. People
Mm,
voted for Mark McKenzie. That still beats you out.
yeah, it shows that the majority of people want conservative in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that about Mark. That essentially their ballot was spoiled.
Yeah, it's an invalid
Wow.
ballot.
See, there's
Thankfully, I
always
kind of
yeah,
like procrastinated long enough so that my vote counted.
yeah. Go the day of instead. Hit that. That's, at least you showed up because I think this is my soapbox, my pet peeve. If you complain about politics or like the state of the world or your
Mm,
government, and you just don't vote and you say, what's the matter anyhow? You have no right to complain or
mm,
have any opinion about politics in general. Like
mm.
you need to take some sense of agency and actually do put your money where your mouth is and then vote with your conscience and actually do it. Because this is how we get in these messes, right? If people don't vote, then you get people in power that you don't like or screw things up.
So I'm just hoping that they do well in Windsor here. I mean, we have two new
Hmm.
people coming in. Chris Lewis is obviously got
He's
reelected in the
in
county, and he's
Essex.
well
Yeah,
liked in the county.
he's good.
That was formerly a very red territory back in the day,
Hmm.
and now it's been conservative for the last few years now, for the last few terms now. Um, but people want to differ. People want to different in Windsor. So we
Right.
have Harb Gill, and I think that a big issue for people going blue in Windsor is that we have a homeless problem. We have a crime problem.
Hmm.
And I think the homeless, like not just maybe the homeless problem. Do we have an article about the crime?
We do actually. Good segue. This one here.
Property cr-
Pro-
property crimes are down in April in Windsor, but crimes are up against people.
yeah.
Well, we actually, so as far as I know, and once again, I was in my riding. but it was Bahar's riding,
Hmm.
was Harb Gill, right? It was funny enough, it was between Brian Massey, who's
He was
it
essentially
was
the
his
incumbent.
riding forever,
Yeah.
Richard Pollack, which was Bahar's boss,
Oh
funny
yeah.
enough.
Wow.
And because yeah, he was a federal prosecutor, right? Very interesting because it's a federal prosecutor with the Liberal Party. Um, Liberals are known to be a little bit more lenient on
Lenient.
crime. Not saying it. I'm once again, this is just my thought
Re-
process of
recently, they
what
have
I've
more
seen
catch and release
lately, and obviously,
policies.
especially when your girlfriend is a prosecutor, you kind of hear stuff.
Yeah,
But
of course.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So this crime, right, in general, and I mean, people see it. We see crime. We see
Hmm.
people carjackings. I remember being on Windsor, the Facebook, in a Windsor Facebook group,
Yeah.
and a Amazon driver got his carjacked, basically got carjacked while he
Oh, I
was
didn't hear about
delivering a
that.
package.
Wow.
So, um, if crime was, if there was consequences, people wouldn't be doing their actions,
Hmm. Yeah, we
right?
need to be a little bit
So.
stricter on crime and not release people on bail the same day. And it's always the repeat people, right? Over and over
It
again.
seems to be. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, I'm not
Generally.
involved. I'm
Yeah.
not involved in that. I mean, I see from and I hear things, right? We have
Hmm.
friends that are police officers and stuff like that. And we
Yeah.
hear things the odd
We keep our
times. And
finger
it's
on the pulse with it downtown too, and you hear of things and things
so
that they're trying to
we
do
got
to
a guy,
improve it.
Harb Gill, I'm sure from what I've heard is a former police officer.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
realize that part. Good.
yeah.
Good.
So I mean that's
Hopefully.
hopefully he's tough on crime. I would have hoped that all three of them had something that was for tough on crime. I
Mhm.
hope that it is. Obviously,
Generally, the conservative
um
platform is tougher on crime than the liberals. This go of it, but again,
tend to be.
we're only the opposition now, so I don't think
Here's the
we can
issue
do
that
too
comes
much.
to play now is we have four conservatives, I guess, because you have Leamington as well.
Yeah.
It's also conservative, and that goes into Chatham. What happens when we have a liberal minority, but we still have the conservative in Windsor? Like, are we going to get looked at? So this is some questions we have to really wonder about ourselves. Is like,
Mm.
and then a few people even brought up to go, well, guess what happens? Like now we have a liberal minority. Would have been better to have a liberal lead, a liberal presence in Windsor. I I mean,
Uh, I don't necessarily think so, and the reason being, the fact that there's a minority means the liberals will have to work more with the conservatives, or at least try to be more partisan, and that means we can shift maybe the Ovaltine window back a little bit, or at least have them not be so what's the opposite? Be a bit more strict on their policies, not go all gung ho and say, okay, well, we need to curry the favor and some votes of the conservatives to push other stuff. So maybe we will give them their tough on crime, or maybe we will build more houses and reduce taxes, things like that, incentivize things.
I
So
hope so too. I mean,
I'm trying to be optimistic and positive that they will try to work together as opposed to blocking every single thing and just grind it to a standstill.
and Mark Carney is we'll call it business. I don't know, was he a business leader? I will call him a business leader, right? Just because
Yeah.
we have a Brookfield there. Um, we have four conservative ridings. He keeps saying three, but four conservative ridings right now. Conservatives known to be a little bit more pro business, pro small business owner, right?
Hmm.
Do we see more maybe a push in manufacturing in Windsor because of the tariffs? If we're going to have these tariffs going on, or we're going to have automation, or what's going on with our car industry, right?
Hmm.
Um,
He did mention investments in his budget, so maybe that's part of it. Saying, "Hey, let's build some more plants. Hopefully, not battery plants, but let's build some sort of manufacturing industry here." Uh,
Net
I
zero by
well, I
2035.
have my doubts about him doing anything with oil. I think he literally wrote a book about wanting to keep it all on the ground. So, yeah, I think net zero
I
is definitely where he wants to still push us. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see with those proposals.
And we'll see what Trump does too. I mean, did you hear about the
That too.
UK one today?
Yeah,
They came to a good agreement.
a bit. Yeah, apparently a big trade deal, but I don't know exactly what it was about. But yeah, the UK bent the knee and they came to Trump, and it's one of the biggest trade deals in history. And you know, when Trump talks, it's like the best deal since sliced bread. You know,
Mhm. Everything's the greatest, the
yeah, the
best.
biggest, the best since any presidency.
But he was So during that chat, he mentioned altogether new investments close to $10 trillion brought into the United States.
10 trillion. Wow, just from
The
UK
average,
alone.
the average, I think the average, there was an article that kind of broke down all the presidents,
Hmm.
and it was like maybe one, two, I think Biden, it was a few million, sorry, a few billion. Trump's first term, I think, was like 1.6 or something like that trillion brought
Sure.
in. And in a few months, supposedly bringing in $10 trillion. According to him, once again, it
Right.
is Trump.
Take it with a
Everything's the
grain of salt.
biggest. Yeah. So, I mean, I love the guy, but holy shit. I mean,
If that's
take it
true
for
though,
what it
that's
is,
wild.
right?
That shows
So,
that the
but
plan's
you know
working.
what? That's great. It's great for business down there. I mean, if I was an American right now and I saw what's happening, the Doge, just
All that
cleaning up,
all that
cleaning
garbage,
stuff
yeah,
up. Yeah.
government and bloat. We need that in Canada, by
See
the
how it
way.
plays out. We'll
Yeah.
see how it plays out. That's the
Hmm.
key word. Is it effective? And if it's effective, then you want it here.
Hmm.
If it's not effective, then but still, it's always interesting and entertaining to hear what's going on.
It's fun to watch on the sidelines.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
definitely is. You know what?
So
Uh, I'll just skim really quick because I wanted to show this.
sure. Yeah. What's the
Um,
next one?
so St. Clair is actually losing a lot of money right now. St. Clair College, um, they had a revenue decline of over $110 million. And this is partially
Damn.
due with the reduction in students coming because all the foreign students, we had a huge influx, and that was like a gravy train. So the government, sorry, not the government, but the students would have to pay, I think, almost like double the tuition of what a Canadian would pay.
More than that. I think
More than
close to
that?
like I think the average person paid about 10,000, and I think for the international students it was like closer to like 50,000 a
Wow. Okay.
year.
I was way off in my ballpark, but that's even crazier then, and that explains why they're having such a deficit because whether or not you like again the liberals and their policies, they are reducing the amount of students and foreigners coming into the country, and so it's directly impacting people like St. Clair College, and I'm assuming the university as well. But I didn't see an article about that. I'm wondering though, and this was a question I had for you, Jeremy. Have you seen an impact on the student rental market at all
I have
this
a
past
few
year?
student rental developers and a few friends that own rentals in the area.
Hmm.
Back when I first started, I was selling student rentals pretty much in like on Campbell, and that was considered a
I
pretty
like
decent
Campbell.
area.
Yeah,
Up to
yeah,
Campbell, and then anything farther than that, like we had Curry, we had McEwen. Hell, there's student rentals like students living in like in Walkerville, which I thought was pretty weird
yeah.
because it's so far away. But
I know they just hop on a
um
bus though, but yeah.
now, what are we seeing? Well, in the last, call it the last 5 years, realistically, a lot more new developments, a lot of new develop. If you drive down California right now,
Hmm.
lots of student rentals being built, multi-units, um, which if you're tripling or quadrupling the amount of units or beds on one street, right? That
Hmm.
starts pushing everything closer and closer to the university. The kids are lazy. Kids will, if you could live on California and walk 10 seconds to class, they would rather do that versus living on, I guess call it Bridge or Campbell, because it's now a 10-minute walk, 15, 20-minute walk. Kids don't want to
That
do that
sweet zone.
lazy.
Yeah.
So, are we seeing, so basically to give you an idea, if I was trying to buy a student rental right now, I probably wouldn't go much further than like Randolph or Rankin. Getting into areas like Partington is going to be a hit and miss. Areas like Bridge, which has been known to be
Yeah, Bridge is a little
a
rough. Yeah.
a very well-known area for international students, especially, 8 people living in one
Yeah,
house in a four-bedroom or
in one
less.
bedroom house, yeah.
Those are all now
Living on top
gone.
of each other.
So what
Yeah.
happens when you have these investors that were, I don't want to use the word slumlord, we'll call it, but we'll call it a spade. But we have these people that bought these properties maybe in lesser area, like lesser quality student rentals, thinking that they could just put 6 kids or seven, eight
Yeah.
kids in a house and rent it out.
No
And
Canadian
that's now
student is
gone.
going to want to be
And
there.
say that your mortgage is on a variable mortgage and you're paying $2,000 a month for your mortgage, and you can't get, no one's gonna pay you like $2,700 a month with
No.
one
Some of
on
those are really
Bridge.
dumps
Anyone
too.
that does, it's not gonna probably be a good quality tenant.
No, there are going to be problems or a drug dealer or something like that. I had way back in the day, I had buddies that lived there, but literally next door was a drug dealer. And then you'd always see like ambulances coming over because people were like overdosing and things like that. Just
but that was before all the change
It's even
happened. So
it's even
imagine it
worse.
now.
It's even worse. Yeah,
Imagine it now.
I've heard anecdotally. Yeah. So
I can
it's
only imagine that the further the streets out now, if you like the issue you have is good families and good quality people don't want to be living next to students. So
mhm.
that area is pretty much if it wasn't students, it was low income. But the issue increases like if once again families don't want to live next to students and low income,
Yeah,
right?
you're euchred. It's kind of like a
So
yeah.
low income will live next to students, and but if there's no students, low income will live next to low income.
Mm-hmm. And just
Unless the location's great. Like once again, like we always talk about certain spots, like for example, downtown Windsor, you have a street like Victoria.
mhm,
And that's such a beautiful street, lots of wealth on that portion there. But you're backing onto like Dougal, which may probably backing on to a tenanted house for the most part, right? So there's
mhm,
don't get me wrong, um those are what's the word I'm looking for there? The odd one, right? The odd one's out. But
right. Not
realistically,
not
like
the
you're
norm.
not like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not the norm, right? So basically, more or less, that being said, like if you have Bridge, which was always been classed as a very low income, not very low income, but a very low quality street, and your main source of income, which is pretty much putting a lot of students in that area, in
You're
that
gonna have trouble
house,
cash
what
flowing now.
happens?
Yeah.
Well, you're either gonna have to try to put a really good tenant in there, and no good tenant's gonna want to pay a lot of money for that because they have options.
Hmm.
Um, you're gonna get low quality. You're gonna to get to what the amount of money you need to rent it out for. You're probably gonna have to really reduce your uh tenant
That's what I'm
quality.
saying. Your cash flow's not gonna be there. It's gonna be
Yeah.
tough. Yeah.
And this, like for example, like McEwen, Curry, those areas, they're further away from the students now. You might see some young families or like people maybe
Starting to kind of
move to
like
those areas
gentrify it in a way,
versus like a Bridge because you're further away from the students now at this point,
right? You're kind of
right?
in that middle zone
Yeah.
or
So still a low
transition
quality,
zone.
still a lower quality neighborhood, but it won't be as bad as like you being kind of in the student rental area that's no longer a student rental area.
Hmm. I like that insight. Well said on that. Um, last two really quickly. We already
Sure.
touched
Yeah,
on it a little
absolutely.
bit
Let's
with
talk it out.
government and tariffs, but some positive news, I guess, is Stellantis was talking about reducing. Well, this isn't positive, I should say. Stellantis is actually still planning on reducing their third shift. Um, am I reading this wrong? I'm getting tongue twisted. Stellantis is having issues with reducing production, but they're going to keep the third shift, so it's still planned. So I don't really have the rest of the article,
Oh,
but it sounds like even though there are tariffs and he's threatening car tariffs, Stellantis is still pushing through building cars, and Stellantis is actually one of the biggest assembly plant in Windsor, right? And they provide a ton of jobs. So if you were to lose a full shift, that's definitely a sign of the economy grinding to a very, very big halt.
we've
Uh,
talked about Stellantis a few times on our show here,
yeah.
but I think that we need to bring another vehicle in. That'd be great for the Canadian economy.
Hmm.
Because right now we have is the Pacifica still around? I think it is. I
I
think so.
think so, but I don't know if it sells very well
And
because
then we
it's like
have
a
the
kind of classic
Dodge
minivan.
EV Charger,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't know how well those are selling.
The Dodge
It's an EV, so
The
I
Dodge
don't know.
Chargers,
I need
I'll tell you, not too much because I do work with a lot of Stellantis people as an engineer. And yeah, right now what's happening is everyone's trying to go back to PHEV, so hybrid electric vehicles, not full electric. Because going full electric, they kind of shot themselves in the foot because no one really wants a full electric vehicle unless they really like the Teslas, you know. But a lot of the customer base of Stellantis, in my opinion, are gearheads. They're like the Jeep guys, right? They want to modify things. They want to be boulder climbing. They like their gasoline, and you can't really get that sort of same rugged, all-terrain feel with some of the cars that they're developing. And plus, it's just very expensive too, right? If you don't have the government incentives, how are you going to afford some of these vehicles? Um,
I think hybrids are a great option. I don't know if it was Toyota or Honda, but they basically built their whole I think maybe Toyota because Toyota's doing a lot better than Honda right now.
mhm.
But they basically one of those companies refused to pretty much go like they were for the longest time not go full like electric because just more people wanted the option for both, right? With
Right.
it being the hybrid electric. And I think we're starting to see a little bit more of the hybrid electrics, and I think that's a great push. That I think probably should have been the
It's
right
more
push
reasonable, you
versus
know?
our government, like with Trudeau and stuff, saying, "Hey, let's go full electric." It's like, why? Why do this? Like, why not just like lower the engine sizes of gas,
Hmm.
and then have it work with electric battery? That's a great option. Like
Yeah.
if I'm driving down the highway and my electric battery starts to die a little bit, let me plug it into the gas station. Like let me fill up with gas
Yeah, let the
for a
gas
bit
almost recharge it.
instead of having.
Yeah.
Although to give you an idea, I did when I was in Florida and Orlando. I know we're taking longer once again,
Hey,
but
that's
who
fine.
cares?
It's fine.
When I was in Orlando, I drove a standard range Tesla Model 3. I liked it. I thought it was a
Oh
cool
yeah,
little
Teslas are
go-kart.
nice,
It
especially
flew.
in the city.
And
Yeah.
honestly, so what I would do is because of the gas station there, what gas station was it? But long story short, there was only one gas station that actually had Tesla chargers. I would pop in there. It was a Wawa. Sorry, it was a Wawa,
Hmm.
WAWA, yeah, Wawa. I would park there, plug my car in to the Tesla supercharger, walk into the Wawa, use the washroom, grab a coffee and maybe a snack. By the time I paid my bill, grabbed my coffee and walked up to my car, I had enough gas to carry on. It
Really?
was like in and out in
I
10 to
know
15
they've
minutes.
improved the fast charging a little bit, so the battery technology has come quite a ways.
Yeah, I mean,
If you get like
it's
the
kind
level
of
three
like
charger, I
it's
think,
kind of
right?
like a cell phone charger in theory. Like once you start getting around 60%, you kind of just try to bump up really quickly to 80.
Hmm.
But if you're gonna go get a coffee, like I went in there, grabbed the coffee, came back to my car was at 80%. Like
Right. You
maybe
might
I
as well
sat on my
plug in.
cell phone and checked my emails for 5 minutes and I was gone. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
So we did that. We did a drive from Orlando to Tampa afterwards. Like we drove around
Straight shot.
Tampa. We drove around Orlando too as well. So in Orlando, our resort didn't have a charger. So but we were a little bit worried. Never had an issue at all. Like the
Okay.
car was we always
Good.
and then basically
Place it.
I drink coffees like 3 times a day. So for me, and once
Oh,
again I'm
that
on the
caffeine
road.
intake, brother. You might have to do a little caffeine detox one of these days. Resensitize.
Yeah.
Plus the
So
pre-workout that you're
it's
probably
bad.
doing now too.
So basically, yeah, by the time I got home, sorry, got back. So with Tampa, wasn't like 2.5 like 2 hour drive or so. It wasn't
Okay.
that bad. We got to we hit a Wawa when we got back in. I think we had like 30%, 30% electricity remaining. We filled back up to like 80% within like 15, 20 minutes. And then,
Perfect.
we're just shooting the shit with a guy in the stores there. So another Tesla guy was next to us. We're like, oh, hey,
We're
how
just
how do you
chilling
like the
out.
Teslas? A little conversation with them, right? And then it's like, oh, wait a second, it's been 15 minutes. My car's ready to roll. Like, I don't know how long it would take to fully charge. And it wasn't very expensive. I think we got our bill. It was like $12 American each time we filled up. And I mean, we did fill up a few times, but we were driving a lot. We were tourists, right?
Right.
But at $12 American to fill up, and once again, this is not at your house. If you're at your house, you can plug your car in, a lot cheaper.
Hmm.
But it wasn't, I think we spent maybe $70 our whole trip there. Maybe call it 80
That's
bucks
not bad at all.
American
Wow. That's not bad at all.
for a full week, like a full week of driving.
And I assume this was before the Teslas had the stigma and people started keying Teslas and
Hell no.
lighting them on
Hell
fire.
no. No, we were
Like way
just
back then.
completely driving the Elon Musk, but we were in Florida, man.
Right. Yeah, I guess
They
Florida
love they
too.
love they
No
love
one
Elon.
cares there. Yeah.
If anything, they would
If
be
you're in
like, "Why are you
LA,
driving a
maybe different
Tesla?"
story.
They probably thought we were a liberal because we're driving a Tesla. But
Yeah.
no, it was fun though. Great, cool car.
Oh, very cool, man. Very cool.
It
That's
definitely changed my thought process about electric cars. And I thought they were kind of lame until I drove one,
hmm
but they're fun.
I
They're
like
fun.
the just obviously like the self-driving feature, and if you're in the city and not doing big commutes all the time, yeah, why not electric? But you still need to have something with gas, I think. Just
The self-driving feature
yeah.
is fine because I mean to give you an idea, like my Lincoln has it. Graham's Cadillac has it.
Hmm.
We used it when we were in coming back from Lake Tahoe back in February. Self-driving on the highway all the way back to Windsor
That's amazing.
on a Cadillac.
What a
So
time to be
it's good.
alive. Yeah, self-driving's come a long, long way with all lidar and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Have you
So
seen
what's the next one?
The Waymo vehicles? I'll just say this: where there's no driver whatsoever, so they'll pick you up and there's zero driver and it's totally
Is it
fine. I
the
saw them in
Jaguars,
Arizona.
right?
Say it
I
again.
think they're Jaguars.
Uh, but
The self-driving. I
I
always
don't.
see it as being a Jaguars. They always seem to be
It might have
Jags for
been.
some
I
reason.
don't know the exact
The
vehicle,
SUVs.
but Yeah, I
Okay.
saw them all around Scottsdale, just
Oh
everywhere.
wow.
Yeah, just like nothing. It was crazy.
Hmm.
But no, the other article we'll skip that for now because it was just more about tariffs and just saying again that Windsor is kind of soft because we are so heavily reliant on
We'll
manufacturing and
build it into our
automotive.
stats. We'll build
And
it in for the
yeah,
stats.
let's hop over here. Jeremy, let her rip here.
All
Here's
right,
your monthly
so
stats
this
for
is the
last month.
month of April stats. Obviously, we're doing it in May. First week, we always get the note. So this just got released maybe a few days ago,
Hot off the
and
press.
we're here to report it to you. So what we see, what's going on in the Windsor market. I'm just going to kind of break it down where it says residential market activity
Yeah, high
comparison,
level.
kind of straight in the middle. We're going to make this super, super easy for everyone right here. What are we seeing right now? Well, for the month of April there, we had 1,203 listings compared to 1,099 last year in 2024, an increase of 9.46%. And honestly, we're seeing more and more listings every month. I have some clients calling me. They're like, hey, heard the market's getting better. I'm like, well, here's what we want to know. What's next? We'll talk about sales. Well, the sales for April was 416 compared to 491 in
Hmm.
last year, a 15.27 decrease. So not only are we getting almost a 10% increase of listings coming to the market, we're getting just over 15% decrease of sales. And then you got to
Right.
factor the margin between those two are actually even higher. The average sale price 579.9 compared to 581, 571. And I've said this for once again, almost closing on 2 years now, since we've kind of teetered. Our average price isn't changing. It hasn't like we kind of hit rock bottom, I think,
Yeah.
in December of 2021. And then since then, we rose right up to about we see what 560,
Yeah.
570,
We've
580.
kind of been hovering that
It's a
same price range for a little while now.
for almost 2 years now, or with the same. So I mean, a decline. I don't really call it a decline because we're stagnant. The
Yeah.
sales price is stagnant. Do I see it getting better? I personally don't. I
Mm.
think this is welcome to the new market. Median sale price. Median sale price for April was at 550, and last year was at 532, 500. Well, that's good. I mean, it's an increase
Yeah,
of
it's slightly.
3.3%.
Yeah, we'll take
Very,
that.
very good. And then year to date, so we have 3,820 new listings compared to 3,662 listings, a 17.11% increase. How about sales? 1,378 compared to 1,574, a 12.45%
So you're
decrease.
just seeing more basically listings sitting on the market, not selling as much.
And this is what we want to, this is the one I kind of want to show you right here, this the average sale price and
Hmm.
then average median, sorry, and then the median sale price. So the average sale price is 573, 923 compared to 568, 955, just under a 1% increase. Like I said, stagnant. There's proof right there. It's been stagnant. A year over year, it really hasn't even moved. We're not gonna you know, we're not going to care about 1% right now. Um, Median sale price 535 compared to 538, 500. So a negative median sale price of just under 1%. Once again, nothing to bat an eye about. We're stagnant.
Hmm. Yeah, and you
So,
think we're going to be stagnant now? Let's extrapolate this. Do you think we're going to be stagnant even into the summer months? Because I guess usually spring you see pick up. So I guess I
well,
answered my
here's
own
the thing. We're
question.
having
We're
a
still kind
decrease
of here.
of people coming into I mean, are we having immigration? I don't know. We have people moving down here, maybe.
Hmm.
Um,
We're also
what's moving?
trying to build
What's
more. That
We're
might be
trying to
helping a
build.
little
Yeah,
bit.
well, we have a ton of new listings. So until we start, the issue is buyers have the have opportunity options right now and opportunities to buy, right? So
Right.
when it comes down to, until we start lowering the amount of, we have to either increase the sales or lower the inventory. One of the two has to happen.
Hmm.
Otherwise, we need a shift in the economy. So we need the tariffs to go away and basically buyers, kind of flock back to the
Do you
market,
think some are
or we
scared right
need
now on the
some type of,
sidelines?
yeah, we need some type of stipulation, like decrease of interest rates. Are we going to see that? Maybe, but I mean, the United States just did another pause.
And we
It would
usually follow
be,
suit with the states too.
well, we've dropped so much more than they have. Like a going mortgage rate, I think is around 6 or 7%. The going mortgage rate right now, I've heard of some buyers getting it under 4%. So, I mean, at the peak, I think we were maybe a 1.5% difference. We're well over that now.
Hmm.
And that affects our borrowing power and affects our buying power
Yeah,
because
it erodes
with
it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it makes more sense to invest stateside when you can get a better return, right?
Hmm. I've always been
So,
told go where you're treated best. Like I love Windsor and I want to keep doing deals here, but sometimes, like a lot of Canadians, it does make sense to go over to like Detroit or Cleveland or other places, Texas, Florida, wherever else, just because the price of the homes are cheaper, labor is cheaper, materials are generally cheaper. There's a
I
lot
had
of
a client
benefits.
tell me, and this is how some people take advantage of the states compared to here,
Hmm.
is that someone went, "Hey, I had a tenant that was non-paying and caused damage, and I had them stuck in my property for 12 weeks." I'm like, wow, 12 weeks. Imagine that in Ontario, 12 weeks. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
We
we
would,
call
what was
that
that,
good.
3 months?
Yeah.
3 months. We're waiting 12 months to get someone out.
I feel like probably for that guy too, 12 weeks. That's like a fluke. Usually it's faster than that too.
It probably could be. That's probably why he was complaining, is he's like, oh man, 12 weeks. I'm like, that sounds
I
pretty good to
I
me.
heard generally in places like Cleveland, you're out within less than 2 months. Call it like 4 to 6 weeks because you're if you don't pay, you're done. Uh, I I
And this
I
was
I
actually, to
long
give you an idea, though, I want to say it was in Arizona that this was a 12 week.
sure.
So I know it's more, I know it's still a red state, but I know Arizona's been a red blue push. So I
I'm
don't
more
know. I
purple.
think
Yeah.
it's more favorable to the landlords, but what define more favorable compared to Canada? Sure.
Yeah.
I
Still,
don't
like
know.
you're
I don't
saying.
know what compared to
Mm,
Cleveland. I don't know. I don't know. I
mm,
don't know
that's
enough about
fair.
the states.
Yeah. It really varies from area to area. So
Anyways, I quickly want to go over the most popular style of home. So we
yeah,
have
you
number
do that.
one being the bungalow, number two being ranch. Wow. Basically the same type of home. Once again, we'll talk about bungalow being your front porch. You have a few steps going to the front porch.
Hmm.
A ranch is you might have one step to like a small little like
Like a pad.
a pad, right?
Hmm.
And then your house. So usually about 3 to 4 steps with a bungalow, one step, if that, with a ranch. A two-story came in at number three with 60, and then the 1.5 story at 46, and then raised ranch at 43. And you can kind of see the prices between the two. And if people are wondering why the ranch, we always talk about this every episode, but I always like to kind of push it. The reason why the ranch is so much more than the bungalow with the steps going up 3 or 4 steps. Those are typical 1960s, 70s style homes in South Windsor, East Windsor, LaSalle, and they're older, maybe if 1,000 square feet. Where ranches tend to be a more newer style home built in the last 20 or 30 years, and those homes are either A, larger, and B, commanded more of a resale value, a
Mm.
higher resale value, mostly due to the age and square footage.
Yeah, the square footage. That's you can just build bigger in these bigger lots, right? As you spread out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, then again, like I said, in age matters too. Like for example, a 1,200 square foot bungalow would
Hmm.
sell probably in South Windsor for the same price as maybe a 1,200 square foot townhome in in East Windsor,
Just
again, like a
because it's
Peabody
newer.
area. Well, the same price point, but they're same square footage. But the issue is that some ranches also get um, kind of hurt it as well because they, like for example, townhome ranches, right? They don't command as much value as a, like, all bungalows for the most part are detached,
Hmm.
where not all ranches in Windsor are detached.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's an interesting
They could be
distinction
a
there.
townhome or a semi, right?
Mm.
So,
Right on. Is
but
there
yeah, I
anything
think
else with
that's
these
pretty much
stats
it
that
for
you want
the
to talk about, or you? Oh, there you go. You said that's pretty much.
honestly, if you want to see the big one right here, we can go. If we look at the top column, you'll see total sales volume for the month and the year. Take a
Hmm.
look at this. Um, we're down fifth, almost 16% and almost 11% on sales volume for both the month and then the year. We were doing 278 and a half million dollars in sales volume,
Mm-hmm.
and that's almost down 16%. We're not selling the same amount of real estate as we were last year. And then
Jeez.
compared that to the year before that, I mean, even in 2023, we're not doing the same as those were in the 330 mark. We're at the 278. That's crazy. So what does this mean? Well, people are worried about the tariffs. People are worried about their job. People are worried about buying. People are
Yeah.
sitting on the sideline. Would I be buying? The answer is I am buying. I've bought three properties this year. Um, I buy based off of numbers and
Not
I factor
emotions.
in. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, here's the thing. I mean, if I know the rents are going to be $1,800 a month, maybe I write my numbers at 1,650. So that, and that's how some student rental people are doing their properties as well. They said, hey, my rents for the student rentals are going to be $800 a month, but if the loss of students affects me a little bit, maybe my rents can drop down to 1600, it says $600 per room, right? Per month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a
Mm-hmm.
$200 decrease, but at least they've already factored that into their numbers.
Right. Very good.
So I would kind of try not to utilize um, market rents today in the sense of using it for your numbers. Like people are just trying to maximize their rent numbers on
And you
their
want to have
spreadsheets just to make it work. It's like,
you
why are
need that
you
wiggle
doing
room,
that?
right? Yeah.
People are,
That safety
yeah, because
factor.
well, if we have 15% more listings, that means some of these listings people are going to get desperate and then put them up for rent. There's a lot of
Mm.
properties right now for rent that are only for rent because they can't sell the property.
Understood. Yeah. Do you see a lot more like single family homes just full rent, like the full house?
I'm seeing a lot more single family homes being turned into two units because that's the
Or
only way to
okay.
cash flow.
That's a good point too. Yeah, and then house hack it that way.
And are they renting out? I don't know. I mean, how many people want to live in an illegal basement unit? I
Not
mean,
very
people go,
many.
oh,
Not
people
very
go,
many.
well, the height's legal. That makes it a legal unit. That does not make it a legal unit. You just don't have proper drywall. You don't have proper insulation for the most part, right?
Right. You have to go through the
Um,
city, do the whole ADU process. I mean, you
you
both
know all
know,
about
yeah.
that. So, do you want to live in a brand new illegal unit, or do you want to live in like for the same price point? Because if people want $2,000 a month inclusive for a bedroom unit, basement for a basement unit
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. You're if
or
you get that
more,
for your basement, then you must
that's the
have a
only way for them
really
to
nice
cash flow.
place. Yeah. I think you're gonna see a lot more of those ADUs. Um, I'm a big fan of them. Like you and like this ties back into what you were saying earlier, like the infill. Windsor does need more, but I think because of necessity too, we're gonna see a lot of these people saying, "Well, I can't move. I can't afford to move, so maybe I'm gonna put the mother-in-law suite in the backyard, and that'll help me support my mortgage because of the government
Hot
incentives."
take.
Right?
I got a hot take.
Let's hear it.
South Windsor. I see a lot of people in the Facebook groups, and these are older people that they're like, oh, I moved to South Windsor in 1980. It was this great neighborhood. Yeah, it was
It was the
probably it
place.
was a 20-year-old neighborhood back then for the most
Hmm.
part, right?
It's losing its
And most
shine
of the
now.
areas, yeah. So that area now is now a starter home neighborhood because new homes have been built that are larger, that families want to raise their families in bigger homes, right? We're kind of pushing those bigger homes. So even my grandma was one of the few that had a executive home in South Windsor. Well, guess what? That's all the houses around them for the most part are starter homes, right? Guess
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. So people are like, oh well, South Windsor, like for example, like the Massey School District area, which is now becoming a lot of rentals, right? We're starting to see a lot more ADUs, 3 units on one lot there. And people are like, well, this is not the neighborhood for that. It's like, yes, it is. It's a starter neighborhood.
It's the
That's what
spot.
it is. So the areas like downtown core, um, the west end of Windsor that were maybe starter home areas at one
Mm-hmm.
point, those are now rental areas. Those are areas that are pretty much pure rentals. You have your pockets of home ownership, but for the most part, those are investment areas. And your starter homes are now going to be like Walkerville, South Windsor, East Windsor, 1960 ranches. And for some investors, they go, wait a second, I want to be in a good neighborhood. I got a 60-foot lot here. I'm going to build 3 units. Potentially, I can go to the city and probably build
Maybe
upwards of
push
six
it.
units
Yeah.
if you get minor variance.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's what's going to happen with these things because just like back in the 1960s when people were living downtown, they moved to South Windsor because South Windsor was something like that was sort of new back in the 1940s and 50s, and
Hmm.
then it got really developed in the 60s, early 70s. That's now your LaSalle's, your Tecumseh's that were the smaller cities, small towns that have now are pushing way better quality products because they're newer areas, right?
It's like it's a cycle. It's a cycle. You
It's a
see,
cycle. Yeah,
like maybe in who knows, by the time we're old and gray, maybe South Windsor has a new renaissance. It comes back again for some odd
100%.
reason, right?
Well, that's what's going to happen. That's what has to
Or the
happen with downtown. So
downtown.
downtown
Yeah,
is
you read my
basically
mind.
being a write-off, right? People don't want to even touch downtown besides the odd investors. So what happens when downtown's now the cheapest area? It becomes one of the best areas to build.
Yeah,
And guess
and
what's
to
going to happen? The
gentrify.
city's going to allow you to do. They're going to allow you to do infill. So you're going to have these homes that are going to be either turned into apartment buildings by buying multiple pieces a lot,
Hmm.
or by just in general, just allowing you to turn those into multifamilies.
I think so. I think you're right. I can't actually wait for the time when downtown actually comes back and it's safe. It's beautiful again, but that still might be a little ways away. But I'm optimistic about what the future holds. And like you said earlier, the future looks bright for Windsor, Essex County, I think.
I
What do you
think it
say?
does. And I think we want to double our population too with good quality of people that want to work here and that want to live here.
Mm,
And you're gonna see areas like LaSalle and Tecumseh probably start to double. And then you're gonna see a lot more infill. Start to see a lot more infill. Start to see a lot more um multifamily. But the issue is with more multifamily, right? People start complaining about, oh, I don't want to live in a multi, I want to live in a house.
hmm I think people will change their expectations eventually. They'll start to realize it's a necessity, and maybe the stigma will change about that. Just like people living in Toronto, like people are
Well,
used to
Toronto's at
living
least
in.
walkable, right? Windsor is not walkable at
Touche,
all.
touche. Yeah, we do need a bit better transit because right now, our bus system, you got to wait for 20, 30 minutes sometimes to hop on something. That's a whole different story from another time. Maybe we got to talk to a city councilor and pick their brains.
Sorry, we went on, but this has been
Yeah,
a long
it has. This
conversation.
has
It's
been
been
a
a
great
fun
chat.
one because we didn't get to do our shoot the shit conversation, so this is kind of making up for that.
Hmm.
However, everyone, we want to say thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely.
Um, if you have any questions or have anything that you want to see on another episode, let us know. We love feedback.
Yeah, let us know. Tune in. We're gonna be having some more All Things REI podcasts coming up. We got some guests lined up. We just need to finalize some dates, and also have an eye out for this these coming months. Maybe we don't have a date quite yet, but for All Things REI property tour meetups coming back this summer, now that the weather is really nice out, we're looking to start a couple more of those. And I think, like we talked earlier,
I had a
Jeremy, one of
really
your properties.
cool one for May, but I talked to the developer and he's like, wait a second, I got a better project coming for you soon. So we might be able to tour some other stuff
A
soon.
little sneak peek. All
But
right, all right.
if anyone has some cool stuff that they want to showcase off, let us know as well. Or if you know someone that has some cool stuff that they're doing and
Absolutely.
maybe they don't watch our show, let us know.
Yeah,
We'll reach
reach
out to
out.
them. We have
Reach
no
out.
shame.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So,
All right, Jeremy. Thanks, man. This has
until next
been
time.
great. Appreciate picking your brain here tonight and giving us those market stats. And then everyone, thanks for tuning in. In the future, if you tune in as well, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe because we're on YouTube now as well. And we'll see you next time. All right.